The shocking truth about Buddha and God. The answer lies in ancient Sanskrit. Welcome back, everyone, to Mind Podcast. In today's video, we're unveiling a mystical world from the past recorded in the Sanskrit scriptures, a startling secret that could transform your view of the world. According to tradition, Sanskrit was created by Brahma as the language of the divine realm, so the Sanskrit scriptures have always been passed down orally. Only when chanted correctly does the scripture sound release its full power. Scriptures transcribed by Hindu Brahmin sages were seen merely as lifeless pages. Later, when Sanskrit spread to China, it transformed into Chinese characters, and its pronunciation changed significantly. We often mention the chant Namo Amitabha Buddha, which holds a great secret. Today, we will decode it further. Namo Amitabha, meaning salutations to infinite light, can also be translated as refuge in infinite light, or merging with boundless light. It implies that we must unite ourselves with this infinite light to become one entity. This sound originates from the ancient and mystical realm of Brahma. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and enable notifications so you never miss any of our fascinating videos. Reports from various countries on near-death experiences describe that, at the moment of impending death, people often see themselves in a dark hallway or on a staircase, suddenly swept away at great speed through the dark depths of the universe, ultimately arriving in a radiant white light that seems to communicate spiritually. Transmission of unconditional love and profound acceptance. At that moment, a powerful sense of unconditional love and profound acceptance overwhelms them, dissolving all fears and anxieties of the departed, leaving only boundless peace. Remarkably, this experience isn't exclusive to those of faith. Almost everyone encounters it. In a gathering of practitioners in England, a renowned doctor from Taiwan shared that, in his hospital, those revived from clinical death often experience something extraordinary. Christian believers might see Buddha, while Buddhists might see Jesus. This phenomenon challenges our understanding. After watching this episode, perhaps viewers may find answers. Maybe Buddha and Jesus are, in essence, one. The chant Namo Amitabha Buddha, advocating for the merging of the soul with light, is indeed recorded in ancient Sanskrit scriptures. These texts also describe early earth civilizations. Known as the Digha Agama, or long discourses, it comprises an estimated 600,000 to 700,000 words. At that time, Sanskrit had no written form. All teachings were memorized and orally transmitted by an Indian monk known as Buddha Kashyapa. Distinguishable by his large red beard and his birth into a noble Brahmin family in India. Despite his luxurious upbringing, he journeyed alone in the 4th century CE across mountains and oceans to reach Chang'an, where he spread the Buddha's teachings. When he arrived, he carried only a few robes and had memorized all the scriptures. In Chang'an, a revered monk named Juphonian listened and translated Buddha Kashyapa's words into Chinese, documenting them as he recited. Juphonian became a renowned translator, comparable to Xuanzang. Since the Sanskrit Digha Agama has been lost, some question whether Buddha Kashyapa could indeed recall and transmit 500,000 to 600,000 words flawlessly on his own. Later, in Thailand, a Pali scripture called the Digha Nikaya long discourses emerged, widely recognized in Southeast Asia as the Southern Agama, also known as the Southern Digha Agama. When comparing the Southern Digha Agama with the Northern version, translated by Buddha Kashyapa in Chang'an, scholars found the two versions nearly identical, with only a few minor differences. This similarity demonstrates that Buddha Kashyapa, with his extraordinary memory, was among the greatest minds of humanity at that time. Since the Digha Agama is so extensive, today we will focus on the most intriguing part: the ancient world secrets revealed by Shakyamuni Buddha. One day, over 1,200 monks were gathered in Anathapindika's park in Shravashti, a setting filled with birdsong and breathtaking scenery. The monks expressed their admiration for the Buddha, marveling at his wisdom and powers, his deep understanding of how countless individuals in ancient times attained nirvana and liberation from samsara. They also noted how he seemed to know the age, name, wisdom, and emotions of those who achieved enlightenment. The monks asked among themselves, "How can the Buddha know all these things?" At that time, the Buddha was meditating elsewhere. With his pure divine hearing, he overheard their discussion and slowly made his way to Anathapindika's park to give them a discourse. First, let us talk about Anathapindika's park in Shravasti, located in northern India near the Nepal border. According to records, when locals were asked about the outstanding features of Shravasti, they described it as an incredibly beautiful land. However, by the 5th century CE, when Faxian traveled to India for the scriptures, this place had fallen into ruins, with scattered bricks everywhere. 200 years later, when Xuanzang visited to retrieve scriptures, all the holy sites were in decay. This suggests that the era of Shakyamuni Buddha might have been a distant period, possibly coinciding with the Old Testament era, when earth was filled with extraordinary beings and miraculous events. It is possible that the Buddha himself was one of these supernatural beings. The following account is based on ancient scriptures such as the Digha Agama, the Pali Canon, the Mahaprajna Paramita Sastra, and the Diamond Sutra, rather than fictional stories. According to these scriptures, the Buddha was born with 32 distinguishing marks. The Diamond Sutra states, if one sees the Tathagata through the 32 marks, then the universal monarch is indeed the Tathagata. Those bearing the 32 marks, if not the Tathagata, are universal monarchs. The universal monarch, a figure in Buddhist lore, also holds profound secrets. First, let's explore the 32 marks mentioned in the Digha Agama, often referred to as the 32 marks of a great being. In the book of Genesis, the term Gibborim in Hebrew, translated as Nephilim, means giants. In the I Ching, the 5th line reads, 9 words, flying dragon in heaven, benefit in meeting a great man. When dragons appear in the heavens, giants, known as great men, will emerge on earth. In Buddhism, dragons are called Naga, translated as Long Wang, dragon kings in China. The dragon kings are among the 8 divisions of heavenly dragons who protect the Buddha. When dragons appear in the sky, giants with 32 distinctive marks emerge on earth. Could it be that Shakyamuni Buddha himself was one of these giants? The Digha Agama describes the Buddha's 32 marks of a great being, exceptionally long hands and fingers, with arms extending past the knees when standing upright, hair growing in a spiral pattern with a blue-green hue. Here the story begins to take on a mysterious tone. The Buddha's hair grew in spiral patterns and was sky blue, while his skin was golden. His body hair, although blue, emitted a golden glow. His eyes were large like those of an ox, with blue irises, and he possessed 40 teeth. His body was much taller than the average person. It is recorded that at the age of 12, standing at the gates of Shravasti, the Buddha's feet touched the threshold while his head reached the arch, estimating his height between 2 to 3 meters. Buddha personally designed statues representing himself at ages 8, 12, and 25, which still exist today. His statues at ages 8 and 12 are preserved at Jokhang and Ramoch temples in Tibet, with the age 12 statue being significantly larger than an adult. The age 25 statue, known as the Triratna Mahabodhi, stands 3.8 meters tall and is preserved at the Great Stupa of Enlightenment in India. According to Xuanzang's records of the western regions, Buddha's footprint measures 8 kun long and 6 kun wide, with a depth of half a kun. The Tang dynasty's measurement of 8 kun equals approximately 54 centimeters. For comparison, basketball player Shaquille O'Neal stands 2.23 meters tall with a foot length of 30 centimeters. This 54-centimeter footprint suggests Buddha's height was around 3.8 meters, a truly towering presence. His bone relics, or sacred relics, are also remarkably large, with some measuring over 5 centimeters. The Digha Agama lists 32 physical features, with the final one being a protrusion on the top of Buddha's head, called the Ushnisha, symbolizing nobility. This unique feature, a combination of flesh and hair, known as Ushnisha in Sanskrit, is seen as the greatest mystery, a hallmark of an ancient race on earth unmatched by any other. However, its true meaning is not simply a hairstyle, but rather an elongation of the skull, a raised point on the crown. Traces of elongated skulls appear across many ancient civilizations, from the pharaohs of Egypt and the ancient Incan civilization in South America to artifacts near ancient cities in Turkey. Throughout human history, noble figures worldwide often had pronounced, supernatural-looking skulls, forming the Ushnisha seen in Buddhism. In Sri Lanka, it's even said that Buddha's Ushnisha was so tall it seemed to reach the sky and was immeasurable. This depiction of an elongated head appeared too otherworldly for the average person to grasp. So in Buddha statues, this feature was gradually replaced by a topknot, making it look like a simple bun. However, if it were merely an ancient hairstyle, it wouldn't explain why Ushnisha was translated as flesh protuberance in Chinese. The 32 marks of the Great Being are attributes of these ancient supernatural beings who appear throughout the world. In Europe, Africa, and the Americas, head binding to elongate the skull was a common practice, as if people aimed to resemble these ancient gods. In the Digha Agama, the monks speak of the Buddha's profound knowledge of the past, present, and future, because Buddha was no ordinary person. He could understand ancient scriptures from the Brahma era. The reason for this lies in Buddha's heritage. He belonged to an ancient Indian tribe near the Himalayas called the Sakya clan, or Shakya tribe, who claimed descent from the sun. The Brish, or solar descendants, founded Shravasti, and their first king was called the solar monarch. The Shakya people worshipped the sun deity from ancient times. On Shakyamuni Buddha's chest was a swastika symbol, one of the 32 marks, which originally symbolized the sun emitting rays of light, spreading Buddha's radiance everywhere. Thus, Buddha, a revered figure of the Shakya tribe, or the solar descendants, possessed a deep understanding of all mysteries related to light. The monks asked, "Bhagavan, how did life on earth begin?" The Buddha paused for a moment before he spoke. He said that from the birth of the universe to its destruction, this cycle is known as a kalpa. After each kalpa, the universe and all life within it are destroyed, but as their eyes open once more, souls return to the world of radiant light, or Abhasara heaven. The Buddha continued, explaining that the universe is divided into 3 realms with 28 levels of heavens. Earth is situated in the desire realm, where material desires abound. Abhasara heaven, or radiant sound heaven, is the highest level of the form realm, while beyond it lies the formless realm, a dimension without physical form, existing only as pure consciousness. The supreme being there may represent a vast, universal consciousness. Thus, Abhasara heaven could represent an intermediate state between material and immaterial, akin to the wave-particle duality in quantum Buddhism. In Abhasara heaven, life exists. Beings there, called radiant sound beings, are naturally born with bodies radiating brilliant light. They can fly, and they consume food through mental contemplation, known as sati in Sanskrit, which means consciousness. These beings are sustained by the universe's immense consciousness, a source of massive light. They are known as radiant sound beings because they lack vocal cords to produce sound. Instead, they communicate through emitted light. In Abhasara heaven, nothing can be hidden. When one emits light, other beings can sense their thoughts. Thus, one must be free from desire and longing to become enlightened, for as one ascends higher in the heavens, privacy diminishes. Any impurity in thought becomes apparent to the entire universe. The Buddha further explained that when the universe ends, a new world will emerge from nirvana. In that primordial state, there is no time, no sun or moon, only emptiness filled with water. After a kalpa passes, the radiant sound beings reaching the end of their lifespan leave Abhasara heaven in search of a stable place. When they arrive in the desire realm, the Milky Way, Earth rises from beneath the water, and the radiant sound beings descend. They land on various planets, including Earth, where they continue to consume through contemplation, radiating light and soaring in the sky. They called themselves sattva, meaning sentient beings, creatures with consciousness. As they soared over Earth's skies, they discovered a large crack on the surface from which a sweet, honey-like stream flowed. Some, pure and unguarded in nature, curiously approached and drank from the stream. The more they drank, the more joyful they felt. The taste grew ever more delightful. Observing this, other radiant sound beings flew down and tried it as well. Drinking continuously, they gradually noticed their radiant bodies beginning to dim. Muscles, bones, and a rough exterior started to form. Eventually, their light vanished entirely. They grew legs, and their ability to fly disappeared, forcing them to walk upon the earth. The celestial beings lost their heavenly beauty, no longer divine, and began walking on the earth. The light on their bodies gradually faded, and the world plunged into darkness. The Buddha explained that, according to the cosmic order, after darkness appears, the sun, moon, and stars emerge in the sky. On Earth, a new type of food called earth essence began to grow. The beings started to consume this essence, which was colorful, fragrant, and pure. However, the more they ate, the more their bodies transformed. Their skin grew coarser, their faces less attractive. Those who ate less of the earth essence retained their beauty and soft, smooth skin, leading to a division based on appearance. This division sparked jealousy and disdain, marking the earliest form of appearance-based anxiety. As quarrels erupted, the earth essence gradually depleted. Eventually, a new food source appeared: rice, which grew without husks and could be eaten raw. Though not as delightful as the honey-like stream or earth essence, it was abundant and seemed endless. As beings consumed rice, they noticed each other, becoming more attractive, giving rise to sexual desire and deeper attachment. Observing this, others were shocked, exclaiming, "What are you doing? This is disgraceful." They considered the physical intimacy improper and expelled those who engaged in it from the community. This story closely resembles the expulsion of Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden in the Old Testament, where the radiant sound beings are akin to the fiery seraphim, whose entire beings radiate light. According to ancient Hebrew texts, Adam and Eve were initially radiant like the angels. After eating the forbidden fruit, their radiance faded, revealing their coarse skin. The radiant sound beings eventually transformed into humans, and faced with limited resources, began to compete with one another. Consequently, they desired a king to lead them in their struggles. At that time, a mysterious race known as the Chakravartin, universal monarch, appeared in the universe. The title Chakravartin means wheel turner, or one who governs the cosmic wheel. The Chakravartin possessed a sacred artifact called the chakra, an energy source within the body used to perform supernatural abilities. This chakra was a mystical treasure capable of producing immense energy, allowing the Chakravartin to sit upon it and traverse the Trichiliocosm, 3,000-fold world system at incredible speeds. The speed was so fast that they could reach their destination in just 10^22 seconds, surpassing any distance in the galaxy. In the universe, 4 Chakravartins are said to soar through the skies, also known as the Flying Emperors. Each time they appear on Earth, they are revered as rulers with unparalleled power and majesty. Their chakra flew like a celestial ship, known as the Wheel Treasure. The Digha Agama describes this wheel as having 1,000 spokes, emitting radiant light, crafted by masterful artisans from the celestial realm, beyond the mortal world. The Wheel Treasure appears in the sky, radiating multicolored light, a creation of heavenly craftsmen, not of human origin. The Chakravartin, who controls the Wheel Treasure, possesses all 32 marks of a great being, with a towering form, golden skin, and green body hair, along with a sun symbol on their chest. Their lifespan extends from 2,000 to 8,000 years, reminiscent of the kings listed in the Sumerian king list. The Wheel Treasure is also a formidable weapon, destroying any enemy who crosses the path of the Chakravartin. In Sanskrit scriptures and the Indian epic Mahabharata, there are accounts of a nuclear-like war in which both sides nearly used a superweapon known as the chakra. The entire solar system was almost annihilated in a flash, but a king reconsidered at the last moment, avoiding mutual destruction. Shakyamuni Buddha once said that in a previous life, he was a Chakravartin. Had he not attained enlightenment, he would likely have become a Chakravartin in this life as well. Thus, in Buddhism, the Wheel Treasure and chakra have become iconic symbols, often depicted in Buddhist temples. Tibetan Buddhism even invented prayer wheels as representations of the chakra. Do not think that the stories of the Chakravartin and the chakra traveling across the universe are mere ancient science fiction. The 32 marks of a great being manifest due to the law of karma, and Shakyamuni Buddha, one of Earth's greatest figures, would not speak falsehoods. Prehistoric rock carvings dating back 10,000 to 20,000 years can be found across North America, Washington, Russia, Brazil, Mexico, Sweden, Syria, and more. In these carvings, people depicted the Wheel Treasure and chakra in the sky. Most intriguingly, a prehistoric carving in Siberia, Russia, shows a 7-headed creature with the Wheel Treasure in the sky above, while the humans below appear tiny. In Buddhist scriptures, this seven-headed creature is called the Naga, one of the 8 classes of heavenly dragons and a defender of the Buddha and the Chakravartin. The I Ching also mentions 9 in the 5th place. The flying dragon is in the heavens. It is advantageous to meet the great person, symbolizing the dragon and Chakravartin appearing together. Prehistoric people worldwide witnessed these phenomena and etched them into stone, later recorded in Sanskrit scriptures and other religions. What do you think about the content of today's video? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments.